Arma 3 is still a very lively and active game, and that is over 11 years after it was made. Released on the 12th of September 2013, Arma 3 came out to high support. It was a very good game, but I will be exploring now, why is it not dead? Why is an 11-year-old game still living with us today, despite it not being nearly as mainstream as something like GTA, which is of similar age? And even why people haven't shifted to what should be its replacement, Arma Reforger, which only released last year. We'll be finding out now. Thank you. But first of all, we have to actually understand what Arma 3 is. Arma 3 is a real-time, first-person military simulator. It is quite realistic in all of its aspects when it comes to the military. It is basically a sandbox, even though there's a campaign. You can do mostly whatever you want to do. You can have ops, you can have mods. It's a very creative type of game. You can really do whatever you want. It is not a stretch to say that mods certainly help a game. This is clear with games like Minecraft, which basically for a couple of years survived off the back of mods, constantly making the game new, in many ways that the developers never ever could. And Arma 3 benefits from the same way. Arma 3 is perhaps one of the most modded games ever. Arma 3 just has so many mods. It's such a moddable game due to its sandbox nature, and it really improves the nature of the game because you're not just doing stuff with the same weapons, same vehicles. You can even have, like, let's say, the world of Warhammer 40,000 into your game. Now that's pretty impressive for a mod to do, and I definitely think that it helped keep the game afloat for all these years. Whenever I play Arma 3, it's always with mods. It's a must-have for the game, it's a great help for it, and the game even openly endorses mods. Has the mod loader and the launcher, presets are really easy to install and everything. It's just a really simple experience that feels like it's right in the game already. What's even more impressive about Arma 3 is that it still receives updates and DLCs and all this regular shit 11 years after it released. Look at like Battlefield 2042, right? That is being discontinued merely, let's say, 3 years after its release. That is horrible compared to Arma 3. And it is a massive reason I think Arma has stayed alive, is that the people in Arma 3 who play it know that the devs have kind of got their back. They know that any issues will be patched. They know that new content's going to be released, so they don't always have to turn to mods. There's always going to be new interesting stuff to add. Now, I'm not a big supporter of DLCs myself, but their DLCs are actually pretty useful, and actually Arma is quite nice in that they don't actually force you to buy the DLCs. They just give you annoying pop-ups instead, which is like a double-edged sword in some way. But I definitely think that the old and new contents, like let's say the Warfare 44 pack, that definitely helps their game and its longevity, because they could have just discontinued it, and I'm certain that if they had discontinued it 3 years after release, it would be a very dead game by now. This last reason's a bit harder to say. Because it's a sandbox game, it can last longer than many other games, even with a lack of new content, because there's just really so much that you can do, and you can let your creativity run wild. Like in this clip I'm about to show you, we crash into a radio tower with a truck that has IEDs on it that we placed on it to destroy the radio tower. Now, we could have destroyed this in a more conventional way, but we chose to do a different way, perhaps for a tactical advantage or because it was more fun. And this just shows how Arma 3 really allows you to do whatever you want, especially with all your mods. Like, it's this sort of stuff that would never be in a game otherwise, and the choices that you otherwise wouldn't be able to have had, that really make Arma 3 what it is. Now, I also just want to quickly explain why Arma Reforger has not taken over, and that's very simple. Arma Reforger just does not have the capability as Arma 3 does. It doesn't have the customizability, it doesn't have the history, and it doesn't have the mods. And without it, people just do not want to switch. Also, the performance is pretty bad, but it's still a great game. Arma 3 is still very popular, and I would actually recommend that you guys play it. It's quite a fun game, and once you get the hang of it, it's pretty nice, even though it has a pretty steep learning curve, as I found out. But in conclusion, Arma 3 is still alive for 3 crucial reasons, and these 3 crucial reasons should be the goal and target of most game studios, especially if they're creating a sandbox game, because having your game survive for this long is a pretty good sign that you're doing something right. So I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Do you agree with my points? If not, or if yes, please say something in the comments and like and subscribe. Goodbye.